Well, good morning, everybody in the U.S., right? Unbreakable Spirit. Great job so far. We got that 11-11 heroic kill. We ended up getting a couple of reps in Mythic with some pugging for GWB, and we got them down to like in 22-23%, so outstanding start. This week's going to be the last week that Tuesdays and Thursdays are going to be focusing on heroics. We're going to start doing Mythics, and that's regardless if we have to pug. We're going to be working on a Mythic roster specifically for that. Those players are going to be moved to Mythic based on performance of the data that we have in the logs. That doesn't mean, for example, players that are going to be moved to the heroic normal standards that we're going to start running on Sundays. And if we need to, we can also add Monday and Wednesday to be able to make sure that everybody's at least getting an opportunity to continue to work on Argus heroic, get to work on their craft, get to work on their skill sets. So that being said, get ready for a little talk tonight and how we're going to be changing up the schedule, and then we're going to talk about how we're going to be able to make adjustments to put ourselves in a position so that everybody can have a chance at success. Now, me and Murphy reached out to a couple of players yesterday. There's an element that I want to talk about now for the next minute about how important it is to continuously work on developing yourself in World of Warcraft for this rating team, okay? You need to be looking at WoW Analyzer on a daily basis. If we put a log up, you need to make sure that you're taking the time and that you're going to it and you're analyzing what you can do to do better. Now, say for example, there's like, rotational, you have your cooldowns, you have avoidance, you have downtime. You want to focus on one or two things and start improving on them on a consistent basis, right? Now, a lot of this, though, focuses on primarily two elements that are going to be central to your success, and that's going to be your UI development. You have to build a clean UI that makes sure that you can see what's going on under your feet, and that way you can avoid stuff as it's coming through. And then the second element is key bindings. Now, I don't care if you tie your key bindings and your macros to your mouse keyboard, all keyboard, combination, don't care. Improve the ratio, and stop worrying about doing like just a couple, for example, or whether or not like doing any because you're afraid that you're going to show up, your performance is going to be bad, I'm going to be knocking on your door with some in-game mail, things like that. Don't, please. If you put in the effort, you put in the time, you listen to the advice that I can give you, whether it's right or wrong. Sometimes I'll be honest, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'll wing it the best I can to win it, to put us in a position, to put you in a position to be able to improve. So that being said, start taking the time. If we reach out to you, please try and improve. If not, then I've got no choice. And I'm not trying to be an a-hole here or anything of that nature. I'm just trying to make it clear that this is the only opportunity that I can present in this fashion that's going to benefit you and your growth as a player, okay? So now I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go over Discord real quick and some of what's going on. For Raid Chatter, this is going to be where posts and things are going to be done. So you'll see everyone, and then if there's ever a message, we're going to put it, and it's going to be tailed in here. If you're going to miss a day, you need to come to Raid Absences and type in your time that you're going to be gone. And also, please change your names as far as when you're on this server to your toon name specifically, so that way we know who's posting what and why, so there's no confusion. Logs are always going to be posted here, and then Murphy's going to follow up with WoW Analyzer. Now you're like, to bring up the logs, I'm going to do a little step-by-step with you real quick, right? So you click on this, and that's going to bring up the most recent logs, right? So this is what we did, for example, on Tuesday, right? So there's everything presentable. Now you can do comparisons and whatnot. It's very, very easy. I'm going to select World Breaker. I'm going to select me. That highlights this, so that way everything that I did in that fight is present, and then you can just look at what's going on. Now the two areas I like to focus on for myself is naturally healings, because that's my job, right? No doubt. And then resources and casting. So you want to know where your total casting times are and your total resources. For me, it's mana. I want to make sure that I'm progressing through my mana at a steady pace and clip to that of the damage coming through, and also the overall health of the boss. And then cast. Now this is the area where I want to talk about. Now, for example, I do key bindings for everything. In fact, there's sometimes where I'll raid where I won't even have my keybinds showing, so I have to memorize them unconditionally. I highly recommend it. Go into a heroic. Go into a mythic, not a plus, right? You got to bring your A game there. But go into a heroic, for example, or even a normal. Turn off your UI or change the opacity to 0 so you can't see what your things are. And then that way you have to memorize them. And it's not a make or break situation. You're going to spend 20 minutes maybe being a little panicky. But man, with that adrenaline and everything being released, you're going to memorize everything super, super quick. The reason why I'm also saying key bindings is that if I didn't key bind, I wouldn't possibly in 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes hit 114 casts. Like, I just wouldn't do it. It just wouldn't happen. You'll be in like the 80s or the 70s, for example. And so I just want you to understand how much threshold is being left on the field when you are clicking, for example, or you're doing a hybrid mix, or you just don't know your keybinds. Okay, so that's why they're all important and so essential to your success. Okay, now, so we did these two here. Here's another step that you can take. For example, scroll up to the top and you hit compare. You can either do a comparison between two specific players if you'd like to, or you can select yourself. You go to default, you set it up, for example, for itself. These standards here are super hot. Like, they'll work out just fine. Now, at the beginning, a lot of times you're going to end up seeing players that are going to blow you out of the water, and you're going to be like, what? There's no way that I'm going to hit that, etc. Right? So click the match, find somebody. Oh, look, there's somebody that's 100%. Oh, it's me, right? But you can always pick the second one. And then I also recommend in the rankings, try to push, past 50, for example, if you can. If there isn't one available, then, take the nearest one. So, like, there's a comparable here. So you select the person's name, and then, boom, you can see the production that the two you had. So you see, for example, like, they had two great spikes right in here, right when they were blowing up. I had a better spike for them on here. We're pretty on par for as far as how we're transitioning through. Total healing throughput was within 5 million. Right? So me and this person played really, really accurately to each other. Now let's go to the next part, right? So we're back in logs. And what we're going to do now is we're going to select WoW Analyzer, which is right here. It's going to bring it up immediately for you. Here's all of the fights. You select which one you want to look at. So we look at World Breaker. You select yourself. So you pick do me again. Right? And then it brings up, and then it makes suggestions for all the junk that I did wrong, right? And so then I just double check on it. Right? Like, I used the flash of light too often, so I ended up getting a overheal issue. I did not cast as many holy shocks as I could. Now you're going to see things like this for healing, because just the fact that the other healers do such a great job. Holy Shock is a snipe ability. It's really like, oh, look, 25% of their health, 50% of their health pool is gone. I'm going to use this. Bam, boom. But really what they try to shoot for here are percentages like in the 90 percentile, if not higher. Like, it's 80%. So for 80% of the time, I was at 70%, 71%. So I was 9% off from being able to do that, right? Another one too is using Light of Dawn. I like to use Light of Dawns when there's spikes coming in. So like on GWB, decimations and things like that are coming through. It's a much better time for me to use it than, for example, to use it when there's no static damage coming in. So that's like a nitpickable, Judgment. I could get Judgment higher, so that means I can, make some adjustments, for example, on my Weaker Wars display, or for example with you can use a bar display. You can use whatever you want. It just needs to show where you're going to be doing stuff, so that way it's visual. I like to sit there and set up 2 bars. I do one above the grouping that I'm healing, and then I do another one below the grouping, so that way no matter what, it's always in my peripheral, and if I look up, look down, I'm always going to see timers, which means, okay, use that. And then that's just a matter of just reinforcing it over and over and over and over. And naturally, as we get into mythic content, all these numbers are going to pick up, because what you're going to be able to do is get more opportunities to be able to cast those things, because there's more damage throughput coming through for a healer. And the same applies for that of those who are doing those that are doing damage and those that are tanking, right? You got to sit there and be on top of your clickables consistently, especially your rotationals, and then also your cooldowns as you can use them. Next element is class guides. We put a ton of information here, discords that you can join, and that'll allow you to, these are all the major players for every single class that we could find. Leveling guides, things like that. Technically this shouldn't have been posted here, so I'll dump that in a little bit. That's a raid chatter appointment. These are YouTube videos that we ended up finding. Me and Murphy are going to post here constantly. There's just a bunch of different things that you can read that'll end up giving you information. I'm also going to be rotating this video, for example, into the section here, and then we'll be talking about the YouTube channel that I'm going to be promoting for our team for Mythic content, and then all content moving forward in BOA. This is our Twitch channel. Sometimes I'm going to post Twitch videos, for example. Like what I wanted to do for this section here is strictly Twitch POVs. Whether they become available and stay available, we'll have to see. They'll probably throw in some YouTube videos too. That's why it's Twitch YouTube. So if, like, for example, you find class videos of somebody doing yours, or you make your own, for example, of our raid, and you want to post them here, they're more than welcome to be here. Anytime we can get POVs of what's going on, it just helps us in our overall performance, which just, it just gives a perspective of what's going on, for example, as melee range and, as heals. And then current raid videos, anytime that we have a boss video that we're going to be working on, you're going to see them rotated into here consistently by me and Murphy to allow you the opportunity to be able to do it. I honestly recommend looking at any of these groupings here. Like you have Signs of Kalani, you got Method. You'll probably see also Fat Boss get rotated in here. You're going to see, what's the other one? TLDR. TLDRs are awesome. They're short, sweet, simple, and you know, if you just pay attention to it and you memorize it, you'll be in really great shape. So it's kind of like do a POV and then rotate into TLDR, and both will end up making you, put you in a really outstanding position to be able to be successful there. I'm going to go down to the channel. This is our YouTube channel. The link is up here. I'll rotate it into our links in just a little bit. I need more subscribers, so as a team, if you can go ahead and get yourself to this channel here specifically, not our old one that I use for VHR. It also has an email, which is unbreakablespirit at gmail.com. So if you ever need to send me anything private, personal, suggestions, things like that, it's an available channel of communication that goes right to my phone, and we'll be able to see it consistently. And then also we have our Facebook channel that's available too, which you'll be able to go to, and that'll give you an opportunity to be able to get even more information, of what we've got going on. Okay, if you have any questions, please just ask. Remember, let's prepare for what we're going to be doing tonight. If I've got 20, then we're going to probably do mythics. If we've got like 23, 24, then we're going to focus on clearing up the last of heroic. But at this point, like, heroic's done for me. Heroic's done for all of us. We need to start putting our big boy pants on, big girl pants on, and doing mythic consistently from here forward, so that way we can get that mythic kill and start working on a higher level of competition. Okay, I hope you have a blessed day. Can't wait to see you in game. Best wishes.